Okay.
Okay, good evening. Tonight is August 12th, 2021. This is our regular town board meeting. And with that, I would like to ask you to rise, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this point, I'll ask if we have any visitors who wish to speak. We have public access at the end also. Anybody at this point? Come on right up. Got to have your name and address if you don't mind, please.
My name is Michelle Fennel, 117 Woodlawn Court.
I'm sorry, could you speak a little closer to the mic and repeat that, please?
Michelle Fennel, 117 Woodlawn Court.
Lou Dezzo always says good things about you.
Oh, thank you.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi. So I'm here today to talk about a fence that was put up in my backyard. I've had people stop and say, I see you have kids. Don't let your kids around this fence. It's 11 feet high. It's not in the ground properly. There's no spaces in between the boards. Everyone's telling me it's going to fall over. I actually spoke with someone who does fences, and I said, would you feel comfortable? I really hate this. Would you feel comfortable, in your professional opinion, do you think this fence is safe for my children to be around? He said, so honestly, I wouldn't feel comfortable having my children around that, mainly because if his fence is over 9 feet with not even 3 feet of post in the ground, as well as the weight of that lumber and it being a solid privacy fence, the wind is going to knock that over. It seems open out there and likely it gets windy. He said, I was going to say the fence probably wouldn't be bad if it was safe, but I would not be comfortable with it. And if a customer asked me to build it that way, I would say no. I don't know if you've seen the fence. It's honestly ridiculous. And, we built this house and it's a nightmare, to have to look out. And every time something happens, another piece goes up or whatever. We tried to have a conversation with the neighbor, and he basically said that Brunswick has no fence restrictions and he can do whatever the F he wants. So with that being said, I mean, we've tried to talk. We've tried to have, a conversation. Didn't go well, clearly. And then it just gets worse. So I just am asking for some help. I don't know what to do. I don't, you know what I mean? I have pictures of the fence if you want to see it. But I just.
Is the
Sure.
the owner's doing it himself?
Yes.
Now, the owner of the property sold you the lot
Mhm.
next to him, right? Which is completely crazy. And then he puts up, crazy because he puts up a fence after he sells it a lot. But
And we
whatever.
helped him.
Huh?
We helped him out. He was in a situation. We
Okay.
helped him out. And this is, it's very sad, because I don't understand it. And it's just, like I said, people are stopping and somebody was like, why did you put that fence up? I'm like, I didn't.
No,
A
I
friend
know.
of mine says, what is that? The Great Wall of China? I'm like, they're like, you're putting that up? I'm like, no, I'm not putting that up, and it's just.
I have seen it. I went by and I said, well, hopefully there's only a couple panels, but I went by yesterday and yeah, it keeps adding to it. So then he got a berm, get dirt on it and everything else.
Mhm. And everything, in the conversation, everything, the person who dug our hole, he was telling him, put a berm here. And the guy was like, I'm not working for you. Like every step of the way, we were told there were so many problems and Town of Brunswick was going to shut it down. And I'm like, well, why would they tell you and not us? You know what I mean?
Do you mean with the fence?
Not with the fence, with the whole build. You know what I mean? So it was like this whole, I don't understand it. I don't get it.
You don't get the.
I don't get the animosity.
Oh,
I don't, you know what I mean? We've done nothing to this person, and then for this to be up, and I have a 4-year-old son. How am I going to keep him away from that? We want to enjoy our backyard, and it's just for that to tip over possibly at any time. Like I said, it's like solid wood, and everyone keeps saying it's going to knock over.
Chuck, can I put Chuck on the spot and have him come up?
Sure.
Chuck, let me bring our building inspector up. Chuck, I know we don't have any setbacks, or tell us about the fences in the town of Brunswick.
We have no regulations on fences.
Yep.
The code built does not cover fences. There is nothing in the code books regarding fences.
But there must be a standard for, building
Oh, gosh,
standards
yes.
for
When I put in
fences.
Fences, yeah, you went down below the frost line, otherwise the frost pulled them out, pulled them.
Yeah, so,
You know that as a farmer, you go around in the springtime, you push all your posts back down.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I would think, couldn't we cite them for not following standard construction practices for fence if we get a printout of what a fence is supposed to be,
It's not in the
Posts are
code
supposed
book, and that's what I gotta follow. So there's no code on.
How about
fences.
through New York State? Would that override something? New York State code or even a federal fence code?
Well, New York
you know?
State went to the international code.
Yeah, so international code, would they have a
And it was
fence?
much the same with the issue with the exterior stairs that I got called in on. There's no code for exterior stairs that are just out in someone's yard going. There's no code for that. A set of stairs, the code book has to be hooked to the house. So,
Yeah, the flip part of it, most of the time, we have zoning in town, so a lot of times I get that, We rather live in another town where there's no zoning and it's my property, I can do what I want to do. And who are you to say that I can't have an unregistered car jacked up with all the tires off and all this stuff? So, and a fence is the one thing that we don't have any restrictions on or whatever. Mr.
Well, I've
Gilchrist,
driven around Brunswick, and I'm like, there's literally on farms, there's no fence like this, and
No.
I hate that there even has to be regulation. I feel like, you know what I mean, like do what you want. But when it becomes an issue of safety, because like I said, my son running around there. I have a 4-year-old, I have a 12-year-old. They're gonna be in the backyard, and to not feel safe in your backyard, that's a problem.
Yeah.
I feel like.
The fence is on the property line?
So I'm not 100% sure. I really don't go in the backyard. I just try to stay away from
listen,
conflict.
you got a beautiful home there that you built. I didn't know it was you. I was watching.
Yeah.
This is a shame. I feel for you. So,
I know. And it's like, because it's like I said, we did nothing wrong. We're not being spiteful. We're not doing anything. And I honestly don't, I think it's like maybe 2 feet off of our property, but then it does come around. We have an easement because it was platted wrong. And it's like this whole thing. And now he's coming down through the easement, which it's another.
So if it falls down, it's going to fall on your property.
So yes. Mhm. And in this one picture, my husband was like, you can see it already like leaning towards us, so it's really ridiculous.
Do you have pictures on your phone?
I do. Want to see it?
Yeah, I haven't seen this.
North Lake.
Yeah, I have to drive over.
This is the beginning. So so this is the beginning. See the tractors there?
Yep.
Okay. So then it goes. So this is the newest piece. It's like 11 feet. And see how it's like.
It's metal posts?
No, it's not metal post.
Oh, okay, there,
It's a wooden post.
wooden post.
Yeah, and then. Okay. another
That looks
one.
like it's leaning there.
Right, and then you can see it leaning there.
Yeah.
He said he was gonna put a kickback on the sides. He hasn't done it.
Over the years, we hear a lot about fences, and normally, just two neighbors that are not happy with each other, and usually they put the ugly side of the fence toward the, neighbor they don't like. But I've never heard of a safety concern, honest. But I did go by and I did see that thing was on a berm or whatever. Mr. Gilchrist, we can ask the legal opinion here, put him on the spot, but.
So there's a couple of things that the town could look at here. The building inspector is correct. Fences are under the zoning law. They're allowed. Okay, they're even allowed on the property line because they're allowed to be put in areas that would otherwise require a setback. That's the way the zoning law is. But this is not necessarily a zoning compliance issue. Okay, you've raised a safety concern, right? So the town does have a separate chapter article in its code, and it used to deal just with unsafe buildings, right? So this wouldn't constitute a building. A fence is not a building, doesn't meet that definition. But it was amended a few years ago, so now it's a chapter on unsafe building structures and unsafe conditions. That's something that I think we should look at with the building department. Again, it's not within the zoning law, but this does raise a potential safety issue. I'll give you this example. You used this article many years ago to take down the unsafe structure on the corner of Tamarack and Tamble. Okay? Because that was a structure that was unsafe, it was collapsing.
It was
and
a
it was
home.
a safety hazard. It was a house. But that article also deals with structures and kind of
Wow.
unsafe sites. So we can take a look at that and probably get an idea for the building department to go out there and do an inspection. It's something we can look at.
Even if it was just lowered, if the wood came down to the ground.
Well, the issue is with the height, just so you know, the height is going to be allowable. The issue really is it safe, right? Is it anchored? Is it have the appropriate foundation? Does it have the appropriate wind load so it's not going to fall down in a heavy wind onto the property? These are some things that the building department can start to look at, may need some technical support on it. But that safety issue is one that you've raised. It's not so much a zoning compliance issue. It's really not so much a building permit issue. It really is now a safety issue on the property, and that's maybe something that the building department and we can look at.
Well, it's good to know we can take a look at something. Chuck, can do that for us, so.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate it. Anything to help would be helpful, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, just to note that our current code, the title of this article is now unsafe buildings, structures, equipment, and sites. So that's something that we need to take a look at and see if there really is a safety issue there.
I'll keep in touch with you. I'll
Thank you.
stop.
Okay.
Lou's been telling me to stop anyway.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
All right.
Thank you so much.
I feel for you because you have a beautiful home.
Oh, isn't it pretty?
Uh,
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks, Chuck.
Anybody else at this point? If not, we'll move into the business. Minutes of the previous meeting, July 8th, regular meeting.
I've read them. I make a motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
We just got them today, Bill.
Yes.
Gotta get them a little
I know.
quicker.
Yep.
I'm gonna say it before Jim does, so.
No, almost completely done, probably within 3 or 4 days, and then I just
Yeah.
hung myself out.
Ooh, I'll keep asking you this
Yeah,
one.
keep after
You
me.
do a nice job with them.
Yeah.
They read very nice.
I think I overthink it is what happens, and I stall.
Yeah.
It's more of a personal issue than it is it's something in my head, and I'll work on it.
Okay. Town clerk, Mr. Lewis.
Yes, sir. Somewhere. We're going to be remitting $9,540.56 this past month. We had one late camp registration. Camp's actually over. It was $450. We had $6,238 in recycling sales, $1,850 in new rental fees. We had 11 community center reservations and 2 pavilion reservations. We had $320 in dog licenses, 13 new residents, and 34 still with us for the month. $681 in miscellaneous fees. That breaks down $492 for vital statistics. We had dog impoundment fees, $180. That's actually a wash. That goes back to Mohawk Hudson. And hunting licenses hadn't started yet, so we only picked up $9 out of $175 in license sales. Hunting licenses are now on sale. That's going pretty well, getting the people in. And looks like camp went pretty well without any real major issues. I think we only had one
Very fortunate.
kid that didn't really like it and wanted to drop. But other than that, I didn't hear anything. It
No.
was terrible.
Ran very well.
We did have one issue with the water testing that one time, and that was resolved within a day.
Yep.
That's it.
A little hard when they follow the geese around and take a sample. but
Yeah.
That's another
Oh,
story.
one thing I'd like to mention to anybody out there that's watching this, we're always looking for election inspectors. Anybody wants to contact myself or the Board of Elections directly, they'll keep a list. They'll inform us when classes are available because they do want you to take classes. And like I say, we can always use people. So keep that in mind. If you have a few hours to spare, there are 9 days worth of, what do they call it, early voting, about 4 or 5 hours a day. And then the big one, the general election. So 9 days worth. You could put in a day or two here or there. That'd be great. Thanks.
Okay. Entertain a motion to approve bills report.
I'll make it.
Can I have a second? I'll
Second
second it. All in favor?
Aye.
It is August and most of my staff is away on vacation. That will be corrected next month. Somebody needs to be here. We get a highway report handed in?
Yes. Highway was handed in. Let's see, also,
Historian,
the historian's not going to be here.
Sharon's
That's-
doing some work on her house. Look like you got a piece of equipment in her house, so
Yep.
probably can't get out of the driveway. We'll have Chuck check on that, see, check the safety.
Pointing out the chimney, get some painting done.
I
We're gonna be doing the same thing.
went by last night and said, how's Sharon gonna get out? Must be she can't, so.
No, I do have reports from everyone except for the water department because Mr. Bradley's on vacation.
Yeah.
But I do have reports from everyone else.
Give me that highway report, please.
Sure. Oh, you have one in there.
Yeah, but I got a ton of paperwork too.
All right. I'll get
Make it
mine.
easy, Bill.
I'll get mine.
You've been with me a good many years. You know how it works.
You got it.
I always like to know what the highway is doing. Hopefully they're keeping busy out there, so. They patched roads for 8 days, hauled brush at the landfill for 3 days, hauled cardboard for 2 days, picked up brush along roads for 3 days, put up veteran banners for a day. We're out mowing the sides of the roads. Ballparks, we're mowing the soccer field and the baseball fields, doing some ditching, replacing some pipes. And of course, we got the storm damage, so we spent 6 days cleaning up for that. So the other thing we paved, correct, Gordy? We have a paver, and unfortunately, we took it out the first day, and something was wrong with the motor. So the paver is down below, getting repaired. So this is where shared services comes in. We're very, very happy and fortunate and with the county, Rensselaer County, with shared services. I contacted our county executives in the highway, and they loaned us one of their pavers. They had 2 pavers. They were renting 1 paver with a crew for 2 days. And we went up and paved Lang Road and down here in Crescent using county equipment. The towns and the county been working together. We had 6 trucks, correct, Gordy? I'm doing the talking there. 6 trucks for 3 days, 6 trucks and then 4 trucks up in the town of Grafton, helping them pave. Otherwise, you get these big projects and you got to move a lot of material, blacktop, in a hurry. And there just aren't trucks. And if you can find trucks, they're at least $100 an hour plus. So we work with other towns. So we went up to Grafton, we helped them. Grafton came down here with their trucks. We do the same thing with Polsonkill, we do it with Pittstown. Scattycook is working real well. And now the county was fortunate to have a paver, and they sent a couple trucks with them. Geez, I think they did a pretty nice job too.
They did good. They were in and out of there in no time at all. They really started early, beat the heat, got going. Nice job.
So we got a couple roads paved, and we're on the schedule. Next week is brush, and there's a lot of brush out there, so we're not going to pave. But the week after, we're going to do a couple more roads to get that done. So, Mr. Golden, come on up. Superintendent of Utilities Inspection. Got a report?
Good evening, gentlemen. For the month of July, 66 building and property inspections, 340 active building permits, 15 permits issued or renewed, 16 meetings, 2 planning board meetings, 1 zoning board meeting, 0 court cases, 1 fire inspection, 7 follow-up complaint inspections, as well as meeting phone calls and letters, 2 code call-outs with their inspections, 7 code complaints, 7 code complaint inspections, 1 vacant property identified. We had 7 planning board projects and 3 zoning board projects.
Is that busy enough?
Pardon me?
Is that busy enough?
Well, it was not as busy as June. I think we had 30, we had quite a few permits in June, but they are slowing down. Commercial side is picking up the reviews of the commercial properties. So currently reviewing Harbor Freight.
Excellent. Thanks, Chuck. Entertain a motion for Mr. Golden's report.
Make you.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Sarah, come on up. Get you up here quick tonight, huh? You, Brunswick.
Getting home for dinner. So we had another wonderful Civil War event. We got to collaborate with Crenshaw's Battery, the Civil War Roundtable, and also Tamarack School provided us with some really fabulous history projects that they had done. We got to do some children's programs, collaborating with some local farmers, dance teachers, and our local 4-H group. We did some multi-generational craft series, including a sculpting class and a kokedama class, as well as a paper making class. We did help to collect some drink and snack donations for our local volunteer firefighters. And this Saturday, we have a medieval day planned from 12 to 2. So if anyone's in the area, they should stop by. We have the Society of Creative Anachronism coming to do kind of a mini Renaissance fair at the library. It should be a lot of fun. For numbers, our library services, we had 433 reference questions, 31 pickup appointments, 1,623 walk-in visitors. Our Wi-Fi was used 144 times. We assisted people with tech use 35 times. Our study rooms were used 42 times for a total of 2,308 in-building usages. For checkouts, we checked out 3,504 physical items, 1,791 digital items, plus a little bit with Hoopla, and our digital newspaper is 5,785 checkouts for last month. For programs, 282 people for story time. We sent home 61 STEAM kits. We had about 150 people at our Civil War class, about 18 people at our kokedama class. All in total with everything, we had 552 people come to our programs last month. And that is all I have for you. Thank you.
Excellent, sir. Entertain the motion for Sarah's report.
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay, Mr. Chaffee, I can forgive him. He came with me when we first got elected, I think about 20 plus years. I bet we go back in the record, he might have missed 3 meetings probably out of 20 plus years. But he knows me quite well and he gets quite nervous. So I kind of shoot from the hip sometimes. So he made sure they had a great replacement up here with Mr. Gilchrist watching me. The attorneys used to sit out in the audience, but now they sit right next to me. So a little concerned about the older age and what's on my mind. Right? Just, thank you, Andy, for filling in. So, okay, we got resolutions.
Now, did you want to say something, Phil? You mentioned something.
Wait a minute. That's why we got Mr. Gilchrist here. Thank you. How about a motion to accept all the department heads reports that were handed in? Can I have a second?
Yes.
As submitted. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're good. All right, before we do our resolutions, bear with me a little bit. I want to update the board and the public regarding the resolution that Tara Donadio, am I saying that right? Donadio, thank you. Donadio of the Capital District Regional Planning Commission recommended that we adopt to get us started in a clean energy community program. First, I want to point out that I feel we have already been extremely proactive in promoting the use of clean energy in the town. I've mentioned this before, but just real quickly. Just to give a few examples and without getting into a lot of details, like I said, because I already mentioned it. We had solar panels installed on the town office several years ago, well before solar panel usage was very high. We have upgraded all the fixtures and bulbs in the town office to more efficient versions, which reduces our energy costs. We have also installed or caused to be installed more efficient outdoor lighting at the town office and for street lightings on public roads, which are the responsibility of the town. We have worked closely with National Grid in this regard, and we have received grant funding for many of these projects. That said, Mrs. Benadio, I struggle, recommended, I think I'll call her Tara, recommended that we get started in the Clean Energy Community Program by adopting 2 resolutions. One involved the adoption of a United Solar Permit application and procedures developed by NYSERDA to simplify the permitting process for small-scale systems, solar systems. Our building department has not been using the unified solar permit to this point, but we had them review all the documentation provided pertaining to it, and the building department is now recommending that the town board adopts it for use in the town going forward. There's a resolution to that effect tonight on the agenda. The other resolution recommended by Tara is a little more involved. It pertains to adopting and implementing an energy benchmarking policy and a program pertaining to all the town buildings of a certain size. Since again, the building department will be responsible in the first instance for many aspects of the energy benchmarking policy and procedure, we asked them to review it and comment before we move forward. Mr. Golden, the head of the building department, has various questions pertaining to the policy and has already started contacting the appropriate people seeking various clarifications. So we will hold off on adopting that policy pending further review and consideration and following up by Mr. Golden. So with that, we can move right to the resolutions, Bill.
Okay. Therefore, this will be resolution number 54, 2021. And it's a resolution adopting the New York State Unified Solar Permit.
I'll offer it.
I'll second it.
Foregoing resolution was offered by Councilman Sullivan, seconded by Councilman Christian. Roll call vote, Councilman Sipperly,
Aye.
Councilman Christian,
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilman Balistrary. Absent. Wow.
Vacation.
I wasn't paying any attention, I'm sorry. Councilman Balistrary absent. Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
Aye, okay. Resolution is adopted. That's the only one.
Make sure the young lady understands this, approach this and got the thing started, so. There's one, huh? Mr. Gilchrist, we got a local law number 2 in front of us.
We do. And if I could, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't also note, while the board adopted the state's unified solar permit this evening by resolution, that's not to suggest that it was difficult installing and getting permits through the building department. Not at all. The town's been very proactive on supporting solar installations throughout the town. I know Chuck's worked very hard on it. Planning and zoning boards have worked very hard, not just on ground-mounted facilities for particular yards, but on the larger scale community solar facilities, and we have a few constructed in town. So I think the town and the board in particular has done a very good job on promoting solar and alternative energy.
Thank you, sir. Now we got, do we do this right at the moment?
You can, so I just. for
Local law
explanation,
number 2?
Local law number 2, it's an introductory local law. The board will recall that it did adopt a 6-month moratorium on 2-family and multifamily homes to allow that to be reviewed under the zoning law to see if any appropriate amendments needed to be made. There have been good faith efforts in that direction. The board has retained a planning consultant that has been working on that. The town has met with that planning consultant multiple times, with the building department, with the supervisor, with the department heads, and with myself and with town attorney Chaffee. And that is progressing along. This is an introductory local law to provide an extension of 6 months on that moratorium to complete that effort. Procedurally, this simply is introduced this evening, and then the local law adoption procedure requires you to schedule a public hearing.
All right, I'd like to make a motion, introductory local law number 2 of 2021, a local law extending a moratorium on the filing, acceptance, review, or determination of any land use application pertaining to two-family dwellings and multifamily dwellings in the town of Brunswick.
Now we need to schedule a public hearing.
Yep.
Can we do that before the next board meeting?
Correct, yeah.
What time, gentlemen?
6:30.
What do you think, Andy? 6:30?
That'd be fine.
6:30? Okay.
And the date?
6:30 's fine.
What is it?
6:30 would be fine. My recollection is there was not significant comment on the initial adoption, so it's at the board's discretion, either 6:30 or 6:30 would be fine.
Let's see, what's the date on that? September? Don't have my calendar.
Yeah, just the next one.
Next Thursday
I
board
guess we
meeting.
need to say it publicly, right?
We
Yeah.
do.
Second Thursday is the 9th.
September 9th. Okay.
Nice board meetings.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the public hearing is scheduled for 6:30 here at Town Hall on September 9th, right before the regular board meeting. Everybody agree?
Yep.
Andy, will you provide Bill with the note?
Notice? Yes.
Okay. Yeah, notice will be posted on our board, on the website, and be in the Troy Record.
Is that it, Bill, for resolutions?
Yes. Mhm.
Any correspondence?
No, I do not.
Old business. Board, get any old business you want to talk about or new business? We got to do that too. We all comfortable and everything?
So we want to make a motion on it?
Warrants,
I make a motion with pair of bills.
can I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any further comments from the visitors? Jim, come on up.
Yeah, Jim Tachik, 387 Brunswick Road. I just wanted to get some updates from, I think it's probably back in March when I was here asking about some things. One of which was the moratorium on apartments. I want to ask about that.
Yeah.
I'm also happy to see the unified solar thing. I'll get together with Chuck to see how things changed for the permitting of that. We can get
Yep.
details later. I asked in the spring if we've gotten any federal recovery money for all the stimulus, the COVID stimulus. And that was supposedly in the works somewhere. And I'm just curious whether anything ever appeared.
I need to get my controller here too. Yes, we have received money. Jim, are you up to speed on that a little bit? I am.
Yeah, it was a couple
I am.
weeks ago. I put the exact date. It was around 625,000 or something.
Now,
That
was
we
there-
have received so
okay.
far.
Now, is there a list of things that's going to be applied to, or?
Now, it's my understanding,
No, would you like me to?
well, give me a second.
You bet, and then I'll.
You can stop me.
No, go
Stop me,
right
Tom, if I get into it.
No.
I've met with our controller, and it's my understanding that, and Andy's up to speed here too, that we could use some of this stimulus money to recover the lost income that we have had.
Correct.
And I believe, Jim, that we've earmarked, and I need to check that figure, but it was over, maybe you heard, over 300,000. 300,000 plus of lost income due to COVID. And we're allowed to recover that. So we have taken that money and put it in a general fund. So we've got we recovered 300. The rest of the money we're studying, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Gilchrist because he's been looking at it to make sure we're going to spend it on the right things. So, Andy?
Right, so the supervisor is correct. The way the federal government is applying this is if a municipality can show, and there's a formula for this, from a date pre-pandemic to the same date post-pandemic, if you can identify a loss in revenue that can be earmarked toward the pandemic impact, then that amount, and as I said, there's a formula, that amount, the supervisor is correct, can go back into your general fund.
Mhm.
Once it's in the general fund, it's available for any use, as any general fund money is. If there's a balance in your federal funding, then there are limitations on what that money can be used for. The big ticket items under the federal legislation and right now the rulemaking is water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure projects. You can also recover for direct expenses that the municipality incurred for response to the pandemic, buying personal protective equipment, notifications, improvements to air circulation, all those costs that you can account for, you can reimburse yourself for. So aside from the general fund on the loss of revenue, you do have to be careful on using those funds only for purposes allowable under the federal legislation. Yep. And a note of warning, if you misuse the funds and the government doesn't pre-approve the use of the funds, you have to comply with the regulations, and it's subject to post-use audit. And if you were in error, you got to pay the money back. So you do need to be careful on the use of the funds.
To get your attention.
All righty. I hope we get a chunk of what is it, 3.5 trillion or no?
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice, huh?
I'm not sure how much of that Phil's going to get. Okay. One of the other points that I'd like to get an update on is the zoning review. Is that coming along? And Phil, you mentioned there's a possibility of a public forum for this to get the input for that.
There will be a public hearing, yes.
All right. Is there anything to report about that, or just?
Council?
Well, that's why we extended
Right.
for 6 months, the moratorium.
Yeah, that's separate from,
Finish.
there's zoning things aside from the,
Right. It's kind of part and parcel. So
It's all the same.
one of the things being looked at right now are the two-family and multifamily, but there are other things that have arisen, particularly that the building department has, just from their experience over the past 4 years in applying the new zoning law, that should be looked at. The board did previously retain LaBerge Group, who was instrumental and assisted the town in preparing the zoning law in 2017, to review that and come up with proposed amendments. And as I said, LaBerge has met with the town on a number of occasions going through that. There has been progress on a number. There's a number of checklist items. But that is progressing, and it's running on the same track as the two-family and multifamily. It's all being addressed together.
all right.
Yep.
Okay.
So that is moving forward.
All right. And then Andy was nice enough before the meeting to give me a very short, concise, and effective primer on the cannabis, what would you call that? Andy?
Oh.
Well, the legalization.
Legalization.
The state law legalizing use and sale of cannabis.
Okay. Now, I might just let him ask my question because he knows what I was going to ask about the opting out and
Yes.
opting in.
So-
And what the board opinion is, first off, whether this is going to be permitted in the town or not, which I guess it goes into this opting out or opting in.
Right, so it's something that the town, I think, will take under review, but I'm not sure there's any determination that's been made yet. So under the state legislation, the not just the use, but the sale, the retail sale of cannabis is now legal in New York. But in the state legislation, it did allow municipalities, if they chose not to allow the retail sale of cannabis within their municipality, to opt out of that state legislation. That would mean that the retail sale of cannabis was not an allowable use in that municipality. But the state legislation said a municipality only has until December 31 of this year to opt out. If you choose not to opt out by December 31, you have no right in the future to opt out, and it will be an allowable use in the town going forward under the zoning law. If the municipality chooses to opt out by December 31 of this year, you do have the option then in the future to opt back in if they so choose. So that's something that the board certainly should take under advisement and review as part of your zoning law, whether retail sale of cannabis should be an allowable use in the town of Brunswick, and whether the town would opt out of that or otherwise
stay consistent with state law, which would allow retail sale of cannabis in the town.
Mhm.
So we've got a short period of time, but yet a period of time to review that and act if you're going to before the end of the
All
year.
right, so essentially like 3 months, 4 months to get
Correct.
to.
And I know Mr.
Act on it.
Chaffee's been reviewing
He
and
has, yes.
trying to get his notes so he can talk
Okay.
to us about it. So.
Yeah. The issue has not gone unnoticed, so
All right.
I know the town attorney.
I was just curious about what the board's attitude toward this. I mean, you don't have to make a
Right.
statement tonight, but, and the other thing is.
I did get a call from a person that rents a business down to Brunswick, down at the plaza.
Mhm.
He was quite concerned because he had empty property next to his business. And he said, hey, I don't think I want anybody selling this stuff next to me, you know? So there's people starting to call me, so.
Well, I have a possible solution for this.
Okay, all right.
And it also goes in along with my efforts to try to get the commercial district away from.
Oh, there you go.
Down, down that from Lake Avenue up to Walmart onto McChesney. McChesney would be an excellent place to have a small discrete shop like this, right? It's just one possibility. You thought to that, right? It's, it's out of the way. It's not, these are probably not buildings or businesses that are going to have big glaring signs. I think they're going to tend to be discreet. I don't know, maybe not. But I think that's one of the possibilities, to do this, along with my drive to get to extend the commercial area away from, the big time places.
Yeah.
Right. But once again, I think the McChesney's got to be evaluated in, like, for example, I don't know, are there sewers on McChesney?
Sewer?
Sure, do you know?
Up until Highland Creek.
Oh, no, I mean, just the loop, the McChesney loop, from 7 to 7.
No.
No, it's just
It comes
Jim
up
until
McChesney
Ave extension.
Actually, the ambulance had to run their system down to that intersection.
Oh, okay, already. But anyways, just something to think of, right? And I have to publicly thank Gordy, who came to my great assistance in time of need when he had his young mechanic welded the honey extractor that we were using. We started working at 9 o'clock and the honey extractor broke at 9:30. I said, oh my God, what are we gonna do? I called Gordy. We went up there, he welded it. We're back in business by 10:30. Thank you very much,
Wow.
Gordy. Did you get the honey I left for you?
Your local small,
I think the welder took it.
Oh, no, I gave you two. There were
I think
two.
he took mine too.
Oh, okay. Well, he did the work. Anyways, thank you very much.
your local small business that works, right?
Oh, that's true. No, that's a good point because Bill Daniel from Post and Kill, he's, his son lives near Philadelphia and he keeps bees down there also. But he said that this is something, it would take you 2 days to get this done down there because you'd have to go to a welding shop and leave it off there and.
Just so you know, the welder took the remainder of my hives
I knew that, yeah.
and set up down, put them back together, and he and his mother are back in the, plus they do have my centrifuge. So-
Yeah, I talked to him a few minutes about that. Yeah, he said that. So we could get together, I'd like to talk.
Yeah, you get together with them.
Yeah.
I'm done with these.
All right, all right, Gordy, thanks.
Thanks, Jim. Now I know why Gordy's not dropping any honey off to me lately. Kind of wonder where that went, but
Well, the Bears put me out of
yeah.
business.
Luckily they left the jar for me. I appreciate that. Any other person? Anybody else from visitors? Board? You have anything over there, Mark?
All good.
Entertain a motion to adjourn?
Let's do it.
I'll second it. All in favor? Aye. Nice hot evening, so. Thank you.
Well, it's your anniversary. You gotta get home. You got dinner?
Me? I don't know.
You didn't bring
I
dinner?
shouldn't go home and just get mine.